Online at ag360insurance.com.
1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
And good morning. Welcome to Focus on Stafford County here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM, the talk of the town, coming to you from the Mayo Money Management Studios. Joining us, Stafford County Economic Development Director Kathleen Norman here on the program today. So, anything new happening with you? There is a few things going on, yeah.
I will be stepping down as the executive director this year. I have applied to the Peace Corps, so I don't know yet where I'm going, but we'll anticipate being sent abroad this fall. So with that, we're starting to advertise. We're accepting applications right now to try to find a replacement or someone else to be the next executive director. To apply, people can send their resume, cover letter, and 3 references to Kathleen at StaffordEcoDevo.com. And our board will start reviewing applications starting February 10th. So people have a little time, but
You're a young lady who likes adventure, aren't you?
I like adventure. I like trying new things. The Peace Corps has honestly been something I've wanted to do since I first heard about it back in high school. Uh-huh. So now feels like the right time for me, just given where other stuff is in my life and with family and whatnot. So it's a new adventure. It'll be different. The thing is, it'll be a new environment, but I'll most likely be doing very similar work. Uh-huh. So I've applied to work in community development. So that would be helping nonprofits and local governments in the country they send me to work towards empowering individuals there and improving the situation environment. You
said you like to find new adventures. That's kind of what brought you here to Stafford, wasn't it? I mean, to Stafford County.
Yeah, exactly. So the first time I ended up in Stafford County was I found an AmeriCorps opportunity, so basically the Peace Corps, but in the States, and was with Stafford County Economic Development working on workforce development in 2019. And then
when you first came out here, did you expect your life's path to go like it did? I'm sure you didn't come out here and say, well, I think I'm going to come here, and then I'm going to come to Stafford. I'm going to become Economic Development Director, and it...
I didn't. When I came here in 2019, it was like, this will be a good opportunity for the year. Wasn't sure what was next. Took a position after I was there in Colorado doing workforce development for a college, and then there was an opening back here, and they reached out. And at first, I was a little like, well, that wasn't really what I had planned on, but then it seemed like a good fit, and came back and did 2 years, and it's been a great opportunity. I mean, there's a lot of great things happening in Stafford County, both that economic development's doing, but also the communities at large. And yeah, it's been a good opportunity, and I've appreciated the time and experience I've gained.
Yeah, and you haven't done too badly either. You've got a lot of different initiatives going on right now, and I guess, again, go ahead. If someone's interested in this position, what are you looking for? A talented person, because...
Well, yeah, I mean, it's someone who... They use the term self-starter, but it's someone... I mean, you have to be able to come up with ideas and be able to come up with a plan for how to carry out those ideas. Grant writing is a piece of it, but it's really looking at how... what are the needs that aren't getting met, and how can we look at addressing those needs? So problem solving probably is the overarching skill needed. Yeah. It's like, how can you, problem solving would probably be the key skill set.
Okay. And again, how can they apply for this again?
Send their resume, cover letter, and 3 references to Kathleen at StaffordEcoDevo.com.
Okay, very good, Kathleen.
The full job description is on the website, so StaffordEcoDevo.com/jobs. They can see the full job description.
Okay, it's right there. We're going to take now. How long are you going to be with Stafford EcoDevo?
So our goal is to have a smooth transition. So we're looking to get people hired now so that I can have a couple months of training overlap. So until we find someone and train them, or until the end of July, whichever comes first.
That is kind of nice. I mean, that's something that probably makes you feel good. You're just not saying, "Oh, I'm leaving, couple weeks, see you later." We've got all these issues and things going on and initiatives. So we've got projects and everything else. So that's kind of good for both parties here.
Yeah, it's necessary for the smooth transition. We have a lot of really great projects going on, and for those to be able to maintain and continue, I really felt it was important to give this notice and to continue working on what's already been in progress.
All right, that is outstanding. We're going to take a break. We'll have more of our program coming up right after this.
The friendly staff at Stafford County Drug appreciates your patronage. The lobby is open, and they offer a convenient drive-up window. They'll even deliver your prescriptions in Stafford, St. John, and Maxville for free. Stafford County Drug knows the value of a hard-earned dollar and wants to work with you and your doctor to make prescriptions easy. For any questions on switching your prescriptions to your local pharmacy, call pharmacist Chris Davis, 620-377-5633. Stafford County Drug, open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Inside White's Food Liner, Highway 281, St. John.
SJN Bank of Kansas knows the value of rural Kansas and is committed to all of the communities they serve, personal to business banking and more. They offer mobile banking options too. Download their app at SJN Bank of Kansas and find them online at sjnbank.com. Serving you since 1905 and with 6 locations. SJN Bank of Kansas in St. John, Maxville, Hudson, Burdett, Greensburg, and La Crosse. Member FDIC.
Hey folks, this is Trey Bergen with Ag 360 Insurance in St. John. We are an independent agency offering several types of insurance, including crop, farm, irrigation, business, personal, and life. We would appreciate an opportunity to earn your business. Feel free to stop by our office at 103 East 4th Avenue in St. John, or give us a call at 620-549-3579. You can also check us out online at ag360insurance.com.
Focus on Stafford County today. Kathleen Norman, the Economic Development Director for Stafford County, here on the program today. There's still, as you said, there's some projects still going on. I'm going to jump over one because childcare, the modular building has arrived. We haven't talked to you in a while, have we?
I know. My last radio show was, I guess, in October.
Yeah,
and that's when stuff's really lined up. So to kind of backtrack, the Child Care Committee in Stafford County had secured funding from the city and the county, some businesses and private individuals to bring in a modular classroom building that would allow for 2 new daycares to open. And part of that, we ended up purchasing a dilapidated house that was torn down to make way for this modular building. And so the modular was delivered right before Thanksgiving. The decking and skirting were put on, and so then it was then it's a process. So so the building's arrived. It's been assembled. Then we were waiting on the Kansas Fire Marshal. We thought they were going to be there in December, but got delayed. Holidays wreak havoc on everyone's schedule. So last week we got the Fire Marshal inspection. Everything was approved, so things are moving forward. Next step is the committee has started reviewing applications of people interested in being providers in that space. So essentially, individuals will operate their own daycare out of the space. It's really the committee's providing spaces that are easily licensable, that aren't in the home, that allow people to run essentially an in-home style daycare. The licensing process takes at least 30 days with KDHE.
Yeah.
And then they'll do a site visit after that. So we're still a couple months out from that. In the meantime, while that process is happening, we're doing modifications to the building. So this week, a door is getting moved. We have cabinets for the kitchenettes to be installed next week. The week after that, flooring will be installed. Some new siding has been ordered. And so once that comes in, there's a contractor that will be installing some new siding. The fence people, we've gotten on their schedule because there'll need to be a fence play area for the KDHE licensing requirements. So there's a lot of steps in process. but realistically, it'll probably be June before there's new daycares being able to open and truly opening in that space.
Okay,
Again,
so-
everything's in process, but there won't actually be a place to drop off kids or whatnot until probably June.
Okay, so you have two providers, correct? Mm-hmm. Are they providing the care? Are they different ages that they'll be providing for, or is it?
With the in-home style daycare, these are technically called group daycare homes. They can serve 0 to 12-year-olds and have a mix of kids. So going about this, having the individuals operate their own daycare, it's different than having like a childcare center.
Okay,
when you
okay.
start getting into a childcare center, then kids are segregated by ages, and there's different regulations for that are, I don't know. There's more regulations and stricter requirements for childcare centers versus this is a group daycare home in a commercial building.
Okay. How many kids will they be able to provide child care for?
So they'll be able to have up to 9, and it will depend. It's often hard because of how KDHE does things. Like an infant, I think it's 18 months, counts as 2 spots.
Sure.
And then toddlers count for a spot and a half. So while they can have up to 9, it will probably be less than that because of KDHE requirements. So you might be looking closer to, 6 to 8 spots.
Okay. I know you sit there and look at it and you think, well, okay, this is a start, right?
It is a start. The daycare that the school had space on their campus in St. John, and that daycare has opened. But again, it was a multi-month process. They thought it would start before school started, and then there was hope, in October. And again, it's just you're on other people's schedules, like the fire marshal and KDHE, to get to the point to open. So with that being open and these 2 opening, we've probably addressed at least 25 more spots being created. And we knew we had a need for like around 50 within St. John. So continuing to work, it doesn't completely solve it, but it moves us forward. The goal, once this project is complete, is to kind of reevaluate and look where else there's need. I mean, there is a need in Maxville, and we weren't able to get funding right away there. There is some need in Stafford, but they do have 3 licensed daycares already that are going strong. So there's still some need, but this will have a significant impact as we work to kind of find more funding and move forward with additional locations.
Okay, can people start lining up to get in here, or do you have to wait till you get the providers first?
They'll have to wait until the provider. So once providers are selected, they'll probably start advertising or offering, but we let the providers run their business. And so that will be...
That's up to them.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Kathleen Norman with us here talking childcare in Stafford County. We're going to come back, a lot more thing, housing. Oh, let's see. That goes on everywhere, doesn't it? Yeah, we'll talk about the latest housing initiatives in Stafford County coming up right after this.
The St. John Jubilee Committee reminds you to always shop local first. It's time to mark your calendar for the 2023 St. John Jubilee Memorial Day weekend, May 26th and 27th in downtown St. John. Small town values and old-time traditions. The St. John Jubilee Committee looks forward to a full year of fun events around the square. Find out more on Facebook at Around the Square, St. John, Kansas.
SJ&N Bank of Kansas knows the value of rural Kansas and is committed to all of the communities they serve, personal to business banking and more. They offer mobile banking options too. Download their app at SJ&N Bank of Kansas and find them online at sjnbank.com. Serving you since 1905 and with 6 locations. SJ&N Bank of Kansas in St. John, Maxville, Hudson, Burdett, Greensburg, and La Crosse. Member FDIC.
Welcome back to Focus on Stafford County. Kathleen Norman in with us today. So transitioning the property management that you have with your housing to Housing Opportunities, Inc. And tell me what's going on with that.
Right.
Because that's a change, right?
So that is a big change for us. I guess prior to, I consider it kind of 2020 because that's when we started building the prototype with K-State. We'd maintained 3 rental units, a duplex, and a renovated house. And so with the K-State prototype finishing construction in 2021 and us launching into building 9 more houses based on that, it's really expanded our portfolio. And the funding that we received for those additional rental houses all come with a lot of restrictions. So it's the Affordable Housing Program through Federal Home Loan Bank of Topeka and the Home Program that KHRC administers, but is a federal program. So there's income restrictions. Some of our units have age restrictions, things like that. And to get people to qualify, like the home units, you can't have students. So if like college students wouldn't qualify for some of the housing, things like that. And there's a lot of compliance and paperwork with that. And we decided that it was more than what we could handle in-house.
Yeah.
And so Housing Opportunities Inc. here in Great Bend, all they do are programs similar to that. They're very well versed in both the construction, but then the compliance management for the affordable housing programs. So our current rentals will fully transition, the current occupied rentals will fully transition to their management starting March 1. And in this rent-up process right now, it's a collaborative effort. We're helping to line up the applicants, and then they're approving the applicants. So the 3 houses in St. John were just completed out of that 9 that we're building towards. So we still have openings, and so we're accepting applications there. If people are interested, they need to go onto our website and fill out our rental interest form. It's at the banner at the top of the page. That allows us to pre-screen because, again, there's a lot of restrictions or requirements to qualify to live in these houses. And then once we get that, then we follow up if we need more information to determine whether it's worth them applying or not, or to let them know that they don't qualify. And then, so last year we had a new house in Hudson that came online. We had 3 in Stafford that were completed. So these 3 in St. John were just finished, and the 2 in Maxville are now underway. So foundations have been poured, and they're working on that. It's a little harder now given the weather. Mm-hmm. So we're probably looking at late spring, summer will be when those houses come online, and we already have a wait list for those units.
And the income guidelines, they're fairly generous, really, aren't they?
These ones are a little more restricted.
Okay.
We had talked to you last year about our moderate income housing, and those ones are very generous.
Okay.
So a number of people will qualify for these houses. That's part of why the programs exist, but it can be harder to qualify.
Okay, so those are taking place. How did this partnership with Housing Opportunities, I mean, it's one of those ones that's sitting out there, man, that makes a lot of sense to do that.
Right. We'd worked with them in the past, but it kind of came up where we knew we needed help, and so we were just kind of reaching out to all the property management companies within the surrounding area. Stafford County doesn't really have property management company that we could turn to, and so talked to them, and they've been great. They were enthusiastic about the partnership, which is important.
And they do this already,
And they are, yeah.
All right. Port Authority.
Yes. So, still good traction. So last year, the Port Authority received $5 million in allocation, part from a grant and part from a direct appropriation from the state of Kansas. So continuing to make strides there.
Is this money just sitting there, or are you doing some things right now?
Some of it's been used. So some of it is sitting there in terms of it's grant funding or limited use funding.
Okay.
So some money was used to purchase land. That was part of what was in the grant. So the land has been purchased for where this mile loop track will go. Then looking ahead, things are starting to take shape. There's conversations with additional tenants happening. The big thing right now is getting some bids from like actual construction people that we've been working off of the engineer kind of layout and what their bids are. And so there's a good chance that, it feels very solid at this stage. Like we will see development happening. And I think it's realistic that construction could be happening this fall to start making way and strides towards the physical development of this mile loop track and transload facility.
Is the railroad doing the track, or is...
So, no. In terms of BNSF... they have to approve the plans and they're willing to grant access, but they're not going to own the track and they're not going to fund the construction of the track. But like the plans that we currently have, they're developed out about 30%. So those have been approved by BNSF. So you do have to have the collaboration and support of it. They don't tend to offer to pay for the development of things. Sometimes they might offer like reduced shipping rates on the back end once something's been developed based off of actual use versus putting money up front. Okay,
and the vision of this, what kind of industry and companies would be part of this industrial or the Port Authority area?
Yeah. So, the whole project has been built on the basis of having an anchor tenant that's a grain distributor. So, grain transload facility is still there and in the works. Auxiliary, talking with like logistics companies or aggregate companies. There's a lot of different things that move by train and there's not really great service to our area for
coast to coast rail. Yeah.
Some of it, yeah. Wichita doesn't have great rail access overall, so it's not a great spot for people to come in and out of. There's a number of like private transload facilities, either on short lines or other long lines, but then that also doesn't lend itself as much to having the ability to build unit trains, having more access, being a larger port of entry and distribution.
So, because this is going to be kind of like a rail yard, but building trains, isn't that what railroads do, or is that?
So it's not physically building it, but it could be having a logistics company that helps coordinate that.
Gotcha. Okay.
This manufacturer can take up 3 cars. This one will take 20. This one will take this. Because the railroads really want to see unit car trains, so 100-plus car trains moving on the rails. So if, say, I am exporting a lot of cotton or hay or something like that, or other ag product or fertilizer, or if KDOT's wanting to bring in, stuff for a project, these are all hypothetical.
Sure.
But, if you're looking at trying to move stuff, even wind turbines, like if there was going to be a new wind field in the area, to be able to move that stuff by rail is a lot more cost effective than trucking it. And so that's where, if you can do a lot, like if you could fill up 100 cars, great. But if you can't, then you lose out really kind of on access to rail and those freight rates. And that's where down the road, it's not probably the forefront. Again, we're looking, we can anchor this, but having the ability to have multiple businesses taking cars to build out a full train.
Okay. Wow.
Yep. A lot of things.
When this thing gets done, are you going to come back from Cape Town, South Africa to be there for the ribbon cutting?
You never know. You never know.
But you will be back next month.
I will, yes.
And the month after that, maybe.
Most likely, yeah.
Okay, all right. Very good. Kathleen, thanks for coming up here today, giving us great information on Focus on Stafford County. Coming up, let's see, we've got our noon report, Sports Day at 12:30, all part of your Thursday broadcast day here at KVGB. Great Bend.